So what's up, Heather?
What's up, B? All right, I'm a little concerned. What is your plan when you've got 4 bourbons over 108 proof and we know you have the attention span of a highly caffeinated squirrel?
Record it, call it content, welcome to Tortured Bourbon.
Okay, that's fair. Hey y'all, this is episode 2 of our Maker's Mark series, and today we're diving headfirst into Private Select. This is actually really cool that they do this. So we've got 4 custom barrels and 40 staves, and we have one potentially impending existential crisis from my co-host here.
Yeah, thanks. If you've never heard of Private Select, this is where Makers lets you play mad scientist, custom finishing their cask-strength bourbon using a mix of flavor staves.
Basically, it's like when Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein. You're just kind of putting all the different parts together to make the monster. Except here, you're building a bourbon with roasted oak and a little existential dread. This is a perfect metaphor for those AP Lit nerds out there. Did you take AP Lit?
Yeah, but this to me reminds me more of like when Eddie Van Halen built his guitar, Frankenstein.
He named it Frankenstein?
Yeah, he ripped parts from a bunch of different other guitars and ripped wiring out and came up with this machine that absolutely melted faces.
Cool.
Yeah.
I introduced literary Gothic horror and culture to this show, and you come back with Van Halen made a glue stick guitar.
It shredded.
According to you.
According to the world. But that's okay.
Anyway.
Before we create a bourbon monster that may or may not destroy us, why don't you go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button like you're hand dipping it in red wax.
It's a Maker's Mark thing.
It is.
Subscribe if you haven't already. We drop 3 episodes a week. Some blind tastings, questionable rankings, completely subjective thoughts, historical deep dives, and then B occasionally forgets to pronounce things like mash bill.
It can be hard. So follow
Words
us.
are hard.
Words are hard. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and X. Heather's got that pretty bottle shot and captions with punctuation. I mostly just go in the comments and yell that everything should be barrel entry proof.
It's true. He does a lot of comments yelling. I'm pretty sure that's going to be your full-time job when you're old and retired. It's just trolling and angrily on the internet.
I'm never gonna do black socks and sandals, but
also feel free to buy us a drink using the link below.
oh, that's right. Buy us a coffee.
Buy us a coffee.
Feel free to donate to the show so we could
This bourbon ain't cheap.
No, we'd like to keep it going.
We would.
We would.
It'd be really nice.
Helps, we buy lights, cameras,
Bourbon.
nice brick walls.
As y'all can tell, this is only the finest masonry that went into this. All right, enough of that. Let's explain what this whole stave finishing thing actually is and why these bottles come with tasting notes that read like a dessert menu. It really does.
Yeah, so here's the process. Maker's Mark takes their cask-strength bourbon and they take the head off the barrel and they insert 10 custom oak staves directly inside the barrel. So if you're wondering what a stave is, the wood paneling on the outside of these barrels is a stave.
Each individual one is a stave.
And so they have them toasted. They're different types of wood, and they're toasted differently, and they stick them down in the wood. So, well they stick them down in the barrel,
liquid.
in the liquid.
Yeah. Kind of in the middle usually, right?
Yeah, well, put it in there.
It's interesting. It's like, it looks like, have you ever watched, if you've gone to like Colonial Williamsburg or anything like that, and you've watched old-timey candle making, it kind of looks a little like that because they're all joined wet, and you dip it in the center of the liquid. It actually looks a lot like okay, shut up. Never mind.
We're talking about the staves, not the bottle.
I know.
No, staves, they're like joined at the top. I've seen them when they stick them in. They have them,
that's fair.
tied together.
That's true. Yeah, okay, I know what she's talking about now.
I've done the candle thing before, not at Williamsburg, but I've done the candle thing. So
and
I know
they're
what
all tied together, and you like dip it.
Yep.
And they're like hanging off.
Collects the wax.
There was a method to the madness, I promise.
That was a great story.
Just reject my culture.
We're going to talk more about Frankenstein.
So basically, you're taking something that's already been aged in wood and you're adding some more wood to it that has some really fun finishes.
Yeah, because remember, you have to chart in new American oak barrels. So the way you mess with that is either you take it and you put it in a different barrel afterwards, or you dump something into the barrel, right? And they stave into the barrel.
People's creativity never ceases to amaze me.
Yeah. So they take it, they put it back in, their limestone cellar for 9 weeks to soak up those flavors. No flavoring just added, just heat, oak, and magic.
And chaos. Don't forget the chaos.
Oh yeah, if you take take bourbon, you stick more wood in it, you stick it in a cave.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Crazy things happen.
Now, there are currently 5 stave options that Maker's Mark uses. We of our 4 bottles, we actually have 6 different staves because they've switched one, and we'll explain that in a minute. So our first stave option is a Baked American Pure Stave. This should give you vanilla, caramel, and soft toasted oak.
Well done.
Thank you. Words are hard. Secondly, you can use a seared French cuvee stave. This should give you a buttery texture, toasted sugar with a rich body. Now, number 3 is your Maker's 46, and this comes from the Maker's 46.
They're classic.
Yeah, they're classic that we tried in the last episode. Links above the Angel's Halo here. That gives you baking spice and oak structure. You then have a roasted French mocha, and guess what? That gives you espresso, cocoa, and deep roast.
I'm excited about that.
Number 5 is a roasted French. Now, this word's great. Mendiant.
Mendiant or Mendiant?
Mendiant.
Mendiant. We're going with that.
Roasted French Mendiant.
That was well done,
Thank
sir.
you. Nutty fruit forward with cocoa powder. And then number 6 is the toasted French spice, which is supposed to give you gingerbread, clove, and peppery heat. I know what you're thinking right now. Well, B, you can't add. You said that was 5 and there's 6. Well, the roasted French mocha was previously one, but it has been discontinued, and now they do the roasted French Mendiant.
That was lovely.
And it was introduced as its replacement, which offers a different profile. But in our 4 bottles, we have one. We have one with those options.
I would like to talk to whoever made that decision.
Yeah, I know you want it back.
Yes.
When we go up there, you can.
I'm gonna bring one with me. I'm gonna find one. I'm gonna bring it. I'm gonna be like, I demand to stick this in a barrel of bourbon somewhere.
Go for it.
Do you doubt me?
No.
With 5 stave types and 10 total staves in a barrel, there are exactly 1,001 possible combinations in the Maker's Mark Private Selection Program. So that is 1,001 ways to build your own bourbon Frankenstein, and only some of them are delicious.
That's true.
Wouldn't you feel really sad if you had committed and done this whole thing and you got to the final point 9 weeks later and you go to taste it and you did a terrible job?
You've spent a lot of money on a barrel of bourbon.
I'd pretend I liked it.
This is great. All 150 bottles of it we're giving away to our friends. So let's see
For the
what
next 40 Christmases, everyone, all they get is a bottle.
Let's see what happens when we drink 4 custom Franken bourbons with the camera running. So, Heather, what do we got up first?
So, first we have Honeycrisp Blossom, which I think is a super great name. This was selected by the OHLQ, which we're not 100% sure what that is, but we're using our fairly decent intelligence levels to guess it's Ohio liquor. And this was done in March 2021.
1 second.
And apparently has a very finicky lid situation.
I want to make sure that's closed. There we go. Now, each of these bottles are going to look exactly the same, except for on the label, they tell you the stave profile.
Mm-hmm. And who picked it.
And who picked it, yeah. And obviously the proof. But the bottle all looks the same. It's just this small sticker that tells you what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I want a sticker with our name, which says Tortured Bourbon.
All right, we'll work on that.
Okay.
So this one gives us 4 baked American pure staves, 2 seared French Cuvier, 1 Maker's 46, and 3 toasted French spice. Coming in at 109. Don't forget the 0.1 proof.
That's important.
Yep.
So this sounds a little bit like a spicy fruit pie, like an apple pie with a caramel crust. I'm pretty excited about this. It has a very strong spice smell. Not in a bad way, but it's very spicy. It's not spicy like peppery spicy, like baking spices.
Okay, yeah. I don't get a big.
No. I mean more like it smells like an apple pie with like allspice.
And remember, the base of this is a wheated bourbon.
That's
is
right.
a wheated bourbon.
Yeah, it's good to remember.
Yeah.
But do you get a little bit of like an apple pie spice going?
Yeah,
here?
a little bit.
Yeah.
So I like that better than the regular makers.
I do too.
And the regular makers for me is fine. It is not my go-to wheated. And people chase me when I say that because people love makers.
So what tasting notes did you get in this one?
Okay, at first I thought it tasted excellent. Mm-hmm. I thought it was smooth up front, and it does have a little baking spice on the swallow, which I like. So it's not as bland.
No.
Right? It's also a higher proof than the regular makers. I mean, it's in closer to the 110.
Yeah.
So I generally like something that's a little higher proof. I like to live in that 95 and up region. That's not true. I like to live in that
100
and up region, but 95 usually will do it. And I can kind of have that lingering baked apple, baked dough. Baked dough is in a baked crust.
Yeah.
Like toasty crust type thing.
It's the
apple pie crust. Yeah.
The pie crust.
It was very, They
An
named it
apple
well.
pie is a good analogy for this one. If you like that kind of fall baking spice pie profile, this would be a good one for you.
And probably that baked American Pure 4 staves, right? And then you mix in the toasted French spice.
Yeah. That'll do it.
And that kind of, that makes up 7/10 of what's in this bad boy. So
It's also got some oak on that finish for sure.
yeah, which it should.
Well, it's been hanging out with a whole lot of wood.
Yeah.
So
Who can blame it?
not
right.
me.
So do we want to rank them at the end?
I'm gonna save a little bit so that we can then rank them from favorite to least. And I don't think I can rank them on our scale until I taste the others.
Fair.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm good with that.
It's also half my show, so if I want to rank them at the end,
I'm all for it.
I'm gonna rank them at the end.
Okay, let's do it.
I was making the point. It's our show. We can do what we want.
You said it was half of your show and that you could do it, and I'm not here against that. So now that you've established dominance here,
I said half.
Okay, we know for when a woman says half, that means it's hers.
You don't complain when I pay for half the bourbon.
No, I'm not complaining now. Not at all. Are we, Bandit? No, we're not. If you saw me scratching something down there earlier, that was my dog. I'm not weird.
Thank you for clarifying that for the folks out there.
Yeah, for those of you who've never watched the show, he's a very important part of the show.
He really needs more screen time. He and I talked about it last night.
Yeah. So what's next?
What is next, B?
Well, we have the Southern Charm from the ladies of the DC ABC.
This better be my favorite.
Which was released in October of 2023. Now, I don't know if that means of the District of Columbia or of Durham County.
That's what I'm going with in my head. I'm going with the District of Columbia, just because it seems fun.
Or Duluth County? I don't know.
Let's go with DC, like the DC.
It's
and our backup is Durham County.
Yeah.
Okay? We'll go with that.
Could be DeKalb County from Georgia.
It could, but isn't decap spelled with a K? DEKALB?
County.
Oh.
DeKalb County.
I'm with you now.
Which is spelled with a C.
Whatever.
Today's Tortured Bourbon show is brought to you by the letter C.
This isn't the Kardashians, okay? It's not brought by the letter K. Back to the point. Back to the point.
Back to bourbon.
So
Bourbon show called Tortured Bourbon.
We should put and other musings
Stuff.
and stuff, or just do Tortured Bourbon ... etc. etc. Okay, back to staves. So this particular beauty has 2 baked American Pure, 5 seared French Cuvée, 1 Maker's 46, 1 roasted French Mendiant, and 1 toasted French Spice, and it's coming in at 110.3 proof.
With 5 Cuvier and a Mendiant. This might
You've changed the pronunciation twice, by the way. You went from Cuvée to Cuvier to Cuvier.
I don't know which one's
By
right.
the end of this, he's going to be wearing a beret and have like a little cigarette hanging out. Anyway. Liberté.
I'll sit on the left bank and just be mad all the time. Now,
what's new?
I'd be on the left bank. I mean,
that's fair.
We don't have a left
bank. At least
bank.
the view's pretty.
That's right.
Okay.
Now, this might taste a little bit like creme brulee wrapped in a pecan tart, and if so, I'm going to go find whoever these DC Charm ladies are, and we're going to have a moment.
And we got to see if it actually tastes like that, though.
I said if.
If. You're right. I think that to go sit on the left bank, you have to stop saying pecan.
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 All right, so what are you getting on the aroma?
Very angry.
A very angry French man.
This doesn't have as much cinnamon spice.
Agreed. This has less baking spice. It's a little more mellow. I get a little more vanilla.
Yes.
with this one.
Yep.
It's a softer smell.
Yeah.
It's a softer flavor too. Ooh. I get the creme brulee analogy.
Well, you got some vanilla up front. Mm-hmm. And then it kind of warms up just a tad. You got a little oak on the breathe out. So I see where they're talking about a pecan. Pecan.
The reason I get the creme brulee analogy is because of the vanilla.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of a sweet cream flavor.
And this has a very good mouthfeel.
Mm-hmm. And that's the third thing.
I'm going to struggle because I thought, well, that first one's really good. This second one's really good.
This one is very pleasant. A very pleasant sipper. DC, you fine, genteel, southern charmed ladies of the DC ABC. I approve. Well done.
And right now they're
Call me
watching
next
the
time.
show.
Call me
and
next time.
They're grateful of our blessing of
They
this bottle.
are and should love our endorsement.
Agreed.
And should bring me next time they go to do this.
Absolutely.
What a fun girls' night.
We could do one of those crappy paint by numbers and wine, or we could go make a bourbon.
Or you want to go to Maker's Mark, pick our staves, and then dip stuff in red wax? Because that sounds like a blast.
That does.
Does it not?
I've not argued with you once about
any
of that.
No, I was reaffirming. Like, does it not?
I just get to go on the girls' night.
Yeah, we'll bring you. Just like that.
Just like that.
Just like that.
How girls' nights go.
That's what we do. We literally, it's like the wee people. We just literally stand there and do like this the whole time. That's what we do on girls' nights. And somebody brings us a sippy cup of wine and we like drink it out of the straw while we're going like that. Every time. 2 hours of that.
That's amazing.
It's phenomenal, really. It's you doubt why we have, and when we all go to the bathroom together, we do it so that we have our little break in the bathroom.
Oh, okay.
Bottle 3 tonight is WCB2. No idea what that means, folks. We don't even really want to hazard a guess at that one.
No.
That one sounds like kind of one of those robots from the Larceny episode.
Wake County, maybe?
Could be.
Wake County Barrel, too.
It might not be, but...
I mean, if you want to go with the obvious.
I thought it was a code. It was Cloak and Dagger.
You and I are like code breaking over here. Wake County.
Got my little spinner thing I'm spinning that I got in my...
Google, what type of code is this? I don't know.
It's a
cipher.
I got my decoder wheel from drinking all that Ovaltine. I'm sitting there listening to Little Orphan Annie.
We're basically Nick Cage and National Treasure over here. Bottle 3, WCB2, might be Wake County Barrel 2, if we're going with the obvious.
Yeah, not sure. Let's just talk about the stave profile.
It's from August 2023, and B's gonna get into the staves.
Yeah, I am. It's got 3 baked American pure, 4 seared French cuvee, and 2 Maker's 46, and 1 toasted French spice.
Ooh.
Coming at 110.5 proof, which might be the perfect proof.
If you were creating a bourbon, that would probably be where you would land.
Yeah, that's true.
So this might be the most balanced of the bunch. You're gonna have the classic oak, you're gonna have a rich body, and you're gonna have some spice, but it shouldn't be overpowering.
What did you get on the smell?
A little cinnamon.
Just a tad. Mm-hmm. I get kind of a cream flavor.
I think that has a very classic bourbon taste.
That's unoffensive. It tastes like it's got a little age to it. Mm-hmm. Probably from the staving.
Yeah. That's why I meant by classic.
Yeah.
You know, it's got like a little oak, a little cinnamon, a little vanilla, maybe a little caramel in there.
Yeah. Yep.
It's solid.
Mm-hmm.
I think their description that it's probably the most balanced is probably apt.
Mm-hmm. So last up tonight, we have our Poorhouse Society from Albemarle, ABC, August 2024. The lovely and talented Miss Heather picked this up for us.
I did.
And this one is stacked with mocha.
And I didn't even know that when I bought it. Look at that. So this one has 1 baked American Pure, 2 seared French Cuvée, 2 Maker's 46, 4 roasted French mocha, like any good Maker's Mark private selection should, in my humble opinion, and 1 toasted French spice. It's coming in at 108.3 proof.
This has dessert dram written all over it, and if it doesn't taste like mocha, we're going to riot.
Yeah, we are. Oh, there's some chocolate on that smell.
There is. There is. What was the proof?
108. I taste the most oak in the back of that one.
The chocolate is on the end. Mm-hmm. It's not in the front.
I maybe get that little bit of bitterness that like an espresso
Yes.
and mocha.
Yep.
Yeah, there that is. It's not my favorite of all 4.
Okay.
I'm just a little surprised. It's good, but it's not my favorite of the 4.
On second hit, I get that mocha
More than the
bitter.
first hit.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this also has something to do with the order in which you drink them.
That's a fair point.
And we've never had any of them. If I was starting over, I would have this one second.
Okay, why?
So the most neutral was the third. I would have started with that.
Okay.
I would have gone to this second because it has more bitter notes.
That's true.
Now it's easier for me to go sweeter than it is to
That's
go
what I was going to
bitter.
ask you, so I understand they understand. When you say neutral, what do you mean by neutral? Like in this one?
The most traditional flavor of
Okay.
bourbon.
Mm-hmm. I would totally agree with that.
Neutral, not, I mean...
No,
most
I totally know what
traditional,
you mean.
But just with some flair. I really liked it. Significantly.
But it was like neutral base when it comes to bourbon.
Yeah, it didn't have the buried punches that this did or this did. To me, that this one, I'm interested for us to taste this, say tomorrow, when we haven't had anything. I think your opinion's going to go
And
up
see
on
what
it.
we get.
Because it has, to me, some of the same things that you see in the 1920 Prohibition without all of the rye, obviously.
So having kind of taste tested them all again, I'm closer, I think, to my... Do you want to give us your ranking first from favorite to least favorite?
So to me, they're all of a level of hush your mouth.
They're a
I
step
don't-
above regular makers.
They're a step above makers, and they're supposed to be. I'm sure that someone could find their Cock of the Walk or one of their favorites in this, and
And someone would find a Bless Your Heart.
absolutely. But there's 1,001 combinations that can be made. I think there's actually, if you throw in that 6 stave, it's like 3,003 or something like that. So bizarrely, the combinations you can get now, different. You asked me a very simple question, and here I go. With all those combinations, I doubt if we lined up even 100 different ones, some of them would taste exactly the same.
It tastes very
I
similar.
mean, we would, your tastes are going to change with the weather, how much you can breathe that day, what you've had to eat, all that good stuff. But with that being said, now that I've wasted more digital space, I believe my favorite is the Southern Charm.
Me too!
I believe my second favorite is the Honeycrisp. My third favorite is the Albemarle.
Okay. So the classic is your least favorite. That's surprising. And I know least favorite is still good.
Easier to find that taste profile in a different bourbon.
That's fair. That's a good point.
It's the only way I could...
Justify the
Yeah,
decision making.
I mean, and this is,
And nobody cares, but we care.
We care.
So my favorite is also the Southern Charm.
Okay.
My second is slightly the WC B2, which is probably Wake County. It's almost tied with the Honeycrisp, and I think that could depend on the day. And like you said, the tasting order. And then my least favorite, but it's growing on me with each taste, is the... But I think that's because I had built up in my head this flavor profile, and it wasn't quite that.
Just didn't live up to what you wanted it to be.
But I think with more and more tasting, I don't dislike it at all. This one, something about the Southern Charm one, it was just such a nice, pleasant combination of
You
flavors.
think that we were both influenced by the name?
Probably didn't hurt.
what I will say is, when you go in a good ABC store, they generally have 3 or 4 or 5 different of these. So you can spend a lot of money buying. Well done, makers. You found a way to take your bourbon, dump some wood in it, and make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. You're taking stuff that already sits in wood, and you're like, let's add a little more wood, and we'll market 80 different combinations.
Yeah.
So, but it's interesting, and it's kind of fun, and it's kind of fun to think about.
There's nothing wrong with them making a profit with a product that you want to buy.
No, and it's good.
I preferred all of them well over makers.
Yeah. So this was really fun. I enjoyed kind of learning about the different stave types and kind of tasting those different combinations.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think that for a new bourbon person, when you walk in an ABC store and you just see that, I don't know that I would.
I would be intimidated a little bit. Yeah, I wouldn't know what any of that
know
meant.
what that meant, right?
Yeah,
so
agreed.
I think it's
honestly, I would read that and think it was apple flavored.
Yeah.
Because it's called Honeycrisp Blossom. So I'd be like, oh, well, that must have apple in it. But it is kind of fun to find out what it's all about.
Absolutely.
And, Makers has, like you said, it has a loyal following and a rich history. The wax is cool. And it's cool that they're doing something a little different.
Yeah.
So.
Well, until next time.
Cheers, y'all. 3.
I doubt that. You know what? I bet European poop smells just as bad as our pee.
Yeah, we have stuff to spray over it.
We cover up our stench. That's good.
Do they not have poopery in the boys' bathroom?
I've never paid attention.
It's like a little spray that sits on by the toilet. It's called poopery, and it's like spray before you go.
No.
See?
Don't have that.
Do you have little couches?
No.
Okay.
We have none of that.
Do you have chocolates and warm towels and?
No.